Hello everybody, I hope you are having an amazing day whenever this video finds you. I am starting a new crystal series here on this channel called Crystals 101, and we're just going to go over some basics of different crystals, their properties, and how to use them. I think a lot of people are really hungry for this information and they don't know where to start. I want to keep this very accessible, focus on affordable crystals that are easy to find for everyone, because I don't think it should be this exclusive thing where only people with a lot of money or maybe live in certain areas that have big crystal shops or crystal healing centers near them can use crystals. I think they should absolutely be for everyone who's interested in them, and I think that they are for everybody that are interested in them. You don't have to be special or different or anything like that. With crystals, you can absolutely start exactly where you are. So for this first video for Crystals 101, we are going to focus on one of my favorite crystals, an amethyst. And I am wearing one right here. I actually just bought this one yesterday. I'm just going to show it to you. I work at a crystal shop. I've been there for coming up on 2 years, so I have learned a lot. I knew a little bit once I started, but I enjoy learning about it. I love talking to other people, talking to my coworkers, different customers, and getting their experience with crystals as well. So diving into this amethyst. Amethyst is a type of quartz, as you can see, so it's a very hard crystal. It's one that's pretty hardy, and these are considered water safe. They should also be pretty cheap. If you went to a crystal shop, I would say a piece this size should be maybe around $5 to $8, maybe just depending on your market and your location. You can often get like the cheaper little tumbles that are like this big for maybe $2, $3, $4, again, just depending on the quality and where you're shopping at. And of course, you can also find them online. If you don't live anywhere where you have a crystal shop, a good place to start is just to go on Etsy or some website like that where you can look at reviews. Because amethysts are a pretty reasonably priced crystal, they're usually not going to be a fake. And that is something people ask me a lot about, especially with crystals that are usually pretty cheap. People will be like, oh, but are you sure it's not a fake? And it's like, no. Amethyst is extremely common. It's found all over the world. Some of the largest mines are found in Brazil. That's where I would say a lot of the ones I come across are found in some of the Brazilian mines. But they're also found all over the world, so it might just depend on what part of the world you're located in. Now, if someone is like, well, how would I work with an amethyst? And I would first of all say, if you look at this crystal or hold this crystal, what first comes to your mind? What do you feel? For most of us, I think we're going to say like, well, you know, if I just look at it, I maybe feel peaceful or tranquility or something like that, which I would say is correct. There's not a wrong or right answer, especially if it's just about how you feel. The traditional properties of amethyst, for those that work as crystal healers or in that realm, would probably say that it helps you find peace, it helps you feel calm, it helps you maybe connect to higher energies like your higher self, maybe a spirit guide if that's something you're working with. I think those are all valid. But if you're just starting out and you're like, I have no idea where to start, just pick up or purchase a piece online and then just look at it and see what your first impressions are. Don't even think about it. You might just grab a pen and paper and just start doing some automatic writing and just see what comes up. One of the best uses of amethyst that I absolutely love, and I have heard this from so many people that come into the shop I work at, is that it helps them with sleep. And I had this customer come in, and she comes in with her brother maybe every few months, and they are the most chill, down-to-earth, unassuming people, and they often will drop serious money and buy some huge pieces, which is absolutely not normal. You know, most people aren't dropping, you know, $1,000 on a massive crystal piece or $500 on a large cut piece. That's pretty unusual, at least in my experience. But she told me she was buying this huge piece of amethyst, what we call cathedrals, which are basically like a cave. If you looked at it, I just call them like mini caves. And a lot of times they're like maybe a foot or two high, just depending on the size you get. And this woman was buying it, and I was asking her, you know, what are you going to do with it? Because it was absolutely gorgeous. And she's like, well, I got a smaller piece and I've never slept so good in my life. And I have experienced so much as insomnia and issues like that. So she told me that she's had so much success sleeping with Amethyst that she, of course, wanted to invest in a huge piece, which is absolutely amazing. That might not be available to everybody. So you might just get a smaller piece, this size or even smaller. You can place it underneath your pillow if you have any sleep issues. If you don't have any young kids or pets in bed with you, I would recommend under your pillow. If you do, you might want to put it on a nightstand, or you can even put it underneath your bed. Some people will maybe tape them to like the slots on their bed, or just place them underneath, as long as you're just being safe. Of course, you don't want your pets or kids to get a hold of them. So that's one use for it, is sleep, which so many people suffer with sleep issues. I would highly, highly recommend giving it a shot. You know, it's cheap. It should be less than $10 to get a little one. So just give it a shot. Another way people like to use Amethyst is to meditate and try to calm their mind. And that's another great way. And that's the other question I probably get asked all the time when I'm at work at my crystal job. They're like, well, how do I use it? Do I hold it? Do I have to wear it? Totally up to you. You might just place it in your space, and maybe you want to just look at it while you meditate. I think most of us, though, really like to have something to hold on to. So I would suggest placing it in your hand. And then people will be like, well, what hand? Does it matter? That's a good question. Personally, I think either hand is going to be fine. One thing that you do hear sometimes in the spiritual world is that your dominant hand is the giving hand and your non-dominant is the receiving hand. So for a lot of people, your left hand is going to be your receiving hand because that's your non-dominant hand. I'm actually left-handed, so I am backwards for most people. So I would consider my right hand to be my receiving hand, and my left hand would be what I give away. So if you really kind of want to play within those perimeters, I would put it in your non-dominant hand. But again, I don't think it really matters. But if you wear a bracelet, amethyst bracelets are extremely popular. I would maybe recommend just putting it on your non-dominant hand. That will also help it last longer, because we typically don't use our non-dominant hand quite as much as our dominant hand. So it would just have less stuff it's rubbing up against, less chance of getting snagged. I really like necklaces just because they're just nice. They don't kind of get in the way if you do a lot with your hands. I have young kids, so I'm often doing stuff with them or picking them up. So I've been really into necklaces lately, just as a way to wear jewelry without getting in the way of my everyday life. So you could always just do a quick meditation. I always like guided meditations, especially if I'm brand new. If you're brand new to any kind of spiritual work, just finding a YouTube guided meditation is a great place to start. You can also listen to some calming music. I know the, what are they called? The theta brainwaves, or the binary beats, sometimes it's called. If you really want to get into it, that kind of specific music does help your mind start to slow down and get into that more relaxed state, which is often called the theta brainwaves. We often tend to be in that state when we first wake up and when we're falling asleep. So sometimes you might work on doing your meditation in the morning if you're kind of awake in the morning. Other times people like to do it at night if they don't get too tired. But it just depends on your lifestyle and your schedule. You can always do a quick meditation at any time during the day. As long as it works with your schedule, that's usually the best time to do it. I wouldn't get too caught up on the details. Another way to use amethyst is just to place it in your space. So maybe you put it next to your bed, or maybe you put it on your dresser or shelf or your kitchen, wherever you spend a lot of time in. That's a good way for the amethyst to pick up on your energy and just see if anything feels differently. Like maybe you do feel a little bit calmer. Maybe you are able to check in with yourself and feel like maybe the energy is more serene. So I love using amethyst like that. Again, you do not have to use a huge piece. Of course, if you do have the funds and want to invest in a massive piece of amethyst for your home, that would be amazing. Go support your local rock shop if you're able to do that. Otherwise, you can get a couple small pieces. You could place them the four corners of your house or your apartment. You can also place them in your car, because who doesn't get stressed out when we're driving, especially if you maybe do something like DoorDash or something like that, where you're in your car a lot, or maybe you just travel a lot or have to drive kids around a lot. Having a piece of amethyst in your car can be a really great way just to kind of get into that energy. Now, another thing people ask me, and this is a whole video on itself, I'm sure I probably will do a series at some point, well, how exactly does it work? You know, does it just work because it says it works? Like, how do crystals actually help us? And that, I believe, is something people have to explore for themselves. My understanding and my experience is that crystals work by interacting with our energetic body. So if you're someone who has maybe a yoga practice, has a meditation practice, especially where they're opening up chakras or they're working with the aura or something of that matter, or maybe if you are a practitioner of Chinese medicine or you like to get things like acupuncture done or other kind of energy medicine, you're probably somewhat in touch with your energetic body. But if you're someone who's like never done any of that kind of work, you're just kind of like, you've never meditated, you've never done yoga, you've never tried to work on your chakras, then you might not feel something right away. So if that's something you're interested in, I would suggest by doing a quick chakra meditation every day for 30 days. And I started doing that a few years ago because I kind of knew about chakras. I taught yoga for years. I'd done some yoga teacher trainings, but I didn't really know that much about how to open them up. And once I started doing a daily meditation, and it only took 5 or 10 minutes, to be honest, to open up your chakras, I could actually feel the energy. Like if I open up my heart chakra, I can feel the energy now because I'm opening them up. I'm getting used to that sensation. I'm checking in with my body. And of course, you can do it on your own, or you could just do a quick YouTube one. I would recommend probably doing a guided chakra meditation just to get started. And there are 7 main chakras that you're going to be working with. There are some others that I would consider secondary or a little bit smaller. So I would start with the 7 main chakras, starting with the crown chakra, going down to the root chakra at the base of your spine. And just doing that for 30 days or a few weeks, and just see if you notice any difference. And once you start to notice that difference, you might be able to pick up a crystal and put it towards your third eye or a different chakra. My most sensitive chakra tends to be my third eye, that space right between my eyebrows, and I can feel a little energetic pulse when I do that. But I did have to work up to that, but it didn't take too long. Like I said, about 4 weeks or so. Give yourself 30 days and just see what happens. That would be my recommendation. So once you start working with your energetic body by opening up your chakras, by working with your aura, maybe cleansing out your aura, then I think you're going to start to understand how crystals interact. Not to say that they can't interact with our physical body. I have heard of some people taking like an amethyst. They might have a knee that's inflamed and they tape it to their knee every night for a week, and they have some pretty crazy results. You might try that as well. I'll be honest, that does not sound very comfortable for me, but if I had knee issues, I would probably give it a shot. So that's another thing to try. Some people even tape them. They get like small ones, maybe tape them to their third eye to see if they get any messages or divine guidance when they sleep, or even if they're just hanging out at home. That's another thing to try. Maybe try that and let me know how it goes. I just don't think I could stand the sensation of tape on my body for that long, but maybe you can. So that's why I like to just wear a necklace, because it is right on the heart chakra area. So it does work on keeping your heart chakra calm and open. And of course, a lot of us are maybe just going about our day. We're getting frustrated, maybe for parents or caretakers. This kind of just helps us to stay calm and in a better spot. My feelings about amethyst is that it just elevates our mood, and it's a very subtle, gentle energy. It's not like you're gonna wake up and you're like, wow, all my problems are gone. But I think it can be a great tool to just start to head in a better direction and to have better energy and to be checking in with our higher self. Maybe we notice we're not as quick to anger or as judgment as we were before. So these are just some tips to try. Again, let me know if you have any experience with the amethyst. If you do experiment or buy a piece, let me know how it goes. And I will hopefully be in contact and hear back from you soon. Have a great day.